Hello everyone, I'm Day Weather, meteorologist on Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this July 20th, 2024. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated. Hello everyone, I'm Day Weather, meteorologist on Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this July 20th, 2024, brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated and also being brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. Heading into the next week, well, some changes. Last week was dominated by a lot of hot weather in the west. We've since cooled off, and we've since seen in some areas of the west a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity. Some areas have gotten some needed rain. Many other areas need more. Subtropical moisture will continue at least early in this period. The desert southwest, the southern Rockies, and southern plains have the best chance of getting wet. It won't be as hot, but we're still going to have the heat along and west of the divide. So the western slopes of the Rockies into the Great Basin, into the west coast areas, plenty of heat. But east of the Continental Divide, it won't be as hot. So front range areas, the adjacent plains into the Midwest, temperatures are actually over the next week going to be a bit below seasonal averages. Now, when we take a look at precipitation over the last week, we have seen some areas that needed some rain. Eastern Colorado, western Kansas, parts of southeastern Wyoming, some areas of eastern Colorado, also some areas of western Nebraska, and the western areas of South Dakota. Lighter amounts elsewhere across the west. Along and west of the divide, there's been rain, but it's been lighter amounts than the Pacific Northwest, California, into Idaho. There, very dry conditions for the past week. Continued wet in parts of the upper Midwest and parts of the Corn Belt. Over the last week, here's the heat. Now, the map we showed you the week before was quite a bit cooler, but you can see the orange over the last 7 days spreading further east into the plains. So this is where the warmest weather has been, and that's how it's going to kind of go. But the cooler weather will go back westward. So what we're going to see, as you'll see here later on, is the hottest temperatures will be west of the Continental Divide. The coolest temperatures over the next week will be east of the divide. Where that boundary is between the warmer and the colder is where the best chances of rain will be. This will be because high pressure kind of gets squeezed a bit. It gets more north-south, and this is where the heat's going to be this weekend into early next week. Along and west of the divide, east of the divide, the jet stream's taking a dip. See this low here over Iowa and Missouri? Well, this will open the door to cooler Canadian air for the eastern side of the country. Western areas of the U.S., west of the divide, will have the heat. By next weekend, the high pressure ridge is weaker, back down to, well, let's say southwest Arizona, and the jet stream now is more west to east. So this will lead to a little bit of a cooling trend, and will cycle through deeper subtropical moisture late next week back to some areas of the central and southern Rockies and the central high plains. The latest drought monitor and drought conditions show where we continue to have concerns. Soil moisture profiles right here continue to be poor, as well as portions of Montana, eastern Oregon, and Washington. Big Bend country here, but look how wet it is in the Corn Belt. You get into the upper Midwest, Corn Belt, Great Lakes here, plenty of subtropical moisture from the showers and thunderstorms and good soil moisture conditions. But look at the boundary. You get right here and points west. It's certainly been much drier this summer, and that's likely how it's going to go here for another week. And you can see that in the drought monitor with moderate drought conditions continuing to grow in eastern Wyoming, southeast Montana, the far western areas of South Dakota, Nebraska, and some front range Colorado areas. Now, we've seen some help in this area here recently with more rain, and they're going to be getting more. And you'll see that here in the 7-day forecast. Notice the moisture coming up out of Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, a good part of central and southern Colorado, Texas, into the southern plains here. Well, they're going to have the most active shower and thunderstorm activity. But the northern Rockies, west of the divide here in this area, while showers and thunderstorms are going to be around, it is going to be drier, cooler, and more wet along and east of the divide out into the plains, Corn Belt, and look how wet it's going to be along the Gulf Coast and the southeastern areas of the U.S. And that's reflected in temperatures from Mexico through the Great Lakes, eastern Canada, the eastern seaboard. It's downright cool over the next 7 days, while the heat is going to be centered over Alberta, Saskatchewan, Montana. The north central United States will be the hottest, then back here into the Great Basin states as well. Our next update will be the 27th. Have a good week ahead, everybody.